us tonight and helping us to shape the future of fun in Redmond. I am Aaron Knopf, the chairman of the Parks and Trails Commission, and I'm joined by Carolyn Hope. Carolyn, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, thanks Aaron. Good evening everyone. I'm the Park Planning and Cultural Arts Manager for the city's Parks and Recreation Department, and we're so thankful to have you here with us tonight.
Yes, thank you very much. This is our first online public meeting, and we're keeping our fingers crossed it all goes well, so thank you again for being here. We know how important it is to our residents to give input on our parks and our trails and our recreation facility and our arts and cultural programs, and we appreciate how important the environment is to our city residents, especially open spaces. And for the past year, we've been working on updating the park plan, which stands for Park, Arts, Recreation, Culture, and Conservation. The plan provides the Parks and Recreation Department with the policy framework and project priorities for the next 6 years, and that goes into a broader 20-year vision, as you can see in the slide that should be showing on your screen right now. Last year, 1,100 people helped us shape the park plan through surveys, stakeholder and community meetings, an online forum, and input to the city's Parks and Trails Commission and the Arts and Culture Commission, and we thank you for all of this feedback. And so what we're going to do tonight is describe what we heard from you and then how we use that information to shape new strategies and priorities for the Parks and Recreation Department. We have 7 strategies that we're going to share with you, and we want your opinion on them before we publish the draft park plan later this spring. So the presentation will go like this. We'll present a strategy and all that went into informing it, what we heard and why we created that strategy, and then we'll immediately ask for your feedback using a live poll. And then when the poll is closed, we'll talk about the results and move on to the next strategy. If you have questions during the presentation, use the chat feature and one of our moderators will be able to answer your questions. If it's something that you'd like us to discussion, then we'll have it held to the end and then we'll answer it then. If there's any particular problems that people are experiencing, tech problems that keep them from being able to participate fully, please know that we're archiving this. We'll make the survey available to be taken as a SurveyMonkey survey after this event, probably available on the Redmond website tomorrow. So this is not your only chance should any technical difficulties occur. With that, we'd actually like to go for our first practice question just to get you in the swing of how it works. So what we'd like to know is what neighborhood you live in, or if you aren't a full-time resident in Redmond but you work here, tell us where you work. And we'll wait as the feedback comes in. And you guys can't see it, but we can see on the screen as the feedback is coming. So
yeah, looks like we're done.
Yeah, I think we've got the feedback. So what did we get, Carolyn?
It looks like we have a couple of participants from 20% of our participants are from Education Hill, 20% are from just outside the city limits. We have someone from Southeast Redmond and some folks from downtown. So thank you very much.
Thank you for being here. So now Carolyn is going to walk you through the first strategy that we want to talk about, and we'll go from there.
Great, thanks, Aaron. Our first strategy relates to recreation. As our city grows and changes, one of the things we're working on is how we continue to provide relevant and quality recreational programs to our community. Through our 2015 Park Plan survey that we administered to everyone in the city, we had over 850 participants. We heard that 72% of our residents participate in indoor recreation activities, and their top priorities included exercise, fitness, and aquatics. When we met with folks in our public meetings last year, they rated a community and aquatic center as their top priority for our capital program. This kind of center could include a leisure, lap, and therapy pool, a gymnasium with a walking track, fitness, dance, and yoga studios, classrooms for non-athletic types of programs, indoor play, and a community space. This kind of building would be accessible to everyone in Redmond and would hopefully be located in the downtown area where it's close to transit and walking amenities.
And so hearing that feedback, we wanted to evaluate our current facilities, and there are 4 recreation buildings in Redmond right now. There's the community pool at Hartman Park, the old Redmond Schoolhouse Community Center, the old Firehouse Teen Center, and the Senior Center. We studied options for replacing the old Redmond Schoolhouse Community Center and the Redmond Pool, primarily because in the case of the community center, it's not owned by the city. We lease it from the Lake Washington School District, and pending the outcome of the LWSD bond levy later this month, it's possible that that property could go back into use by the Lake Washington School District and not be available to us anymore. And then in the case of the Redmond Pool, it's 45 years old. The city has recently authorized up to $100,000 in life support funding to keep it operational for the members of the community for whom it's essential. But as you can see, it's in a state where it definitely needs to be replaced. Repairing it is not an option anymore. So with that in mind, we developed concepts for a replacement community and aquatic center.
Great, and this is a concept on your slide that we came up with, and what we want to know from you is how important is it to continue to provide aquatics and recreational programming with a replacement community and aquatic center? Is it extremely important? Important? Are you neutral about it? Is it not very important or not at all important to you?
And while feedback's coming in,
I think one of the important things that we've been learning from our consultants and from other cities around is that combining our recreational programs and our swimming and aquatics programs provides a higher return on investment for us, so that we're providing more income and revenue to balance our costs. So that's one reason for combining our facilities.
Great. Well, it looks like we have our feedback. And it seems that it's important or extremely important to 60% of the people. Am I reading those results
yeah,
right?
That's right.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much for that. We will certainly continue to use that in development of our plans. And I turned my notes around. So the next question is about tree canopy and how we can enhance natural areas throughout the city. And so we've heard in our surveys that 76% of people want to preserve more open space and natural areas, such as forested areas or wetland habitat, as a priority, and that, in fact, parks that have a lot of trees and plants in them are very important to the city of Redmond, people of the city of Redmond.
So we considered how residents value our green and natural areas across the city. We evaluated the amount of forested parkland that we have in our inventory today, which is 988 acres out of 1,300. And we proposed a citywide target for tree canopy across the city. And as you may know, tree canopy is the land covered by tree foliage. And some of the benefits include reducing greenhouse gas emissions, improving water quality and wildlife habitat, and adding to the natural beauty of our city.
So the question is, sorry about that.
On the next slide, we're showing that the national recommended goal for tree canopy is 40%. And many of our local cities are striving to achieve that goal of 40%. Redmond's goal is to increase, at least the proposal today, is to increase our tree canopy from 37% today to 45% in about 40 years. And we believe that we can achieve that goal through a number of ways. By planting about 25 acres of trees per year on public and private properties, such as parks, natural areas, residential lots, and commercial properties. And the reason that we're choosing to propose a 45% goal, a more aggressive goal, is because we have such significant tree canopy in areas like the watershed and Beryl McWhorter Park, which you can see here on the map. And what we really want to focus on is adding more tree canopy where people will notice it in our suburban and urban areas. So we want to account for the areas that we manage, but we want to grow the tree canopy in the core of the city.
Great. So the question is, do you agree with the strategy of setting this ambitious tree canopy target to improve air and water quality, habitat, and the green aesthetic within the city boundaries. And again, this is about putting up trees in places where people are going to see them in their daily life, not out in the non-contiguous areas of Redmond, which we're happy we have in our park inventory, but it's about people's daily lives.
Yes. Great. Well, it looks like people are wrapping up their voting, and it looks like about 70% of the people feel like they agree or strongly agree with our approach. And we have a couple people that find it as if they're neutral about it.
Great.
So thanks. Our next topic is regarding trails and walkability of our city. In Redmond, one of our goals is to have everyone who lives and works in the city be able to walk a quarter mile or less to a park or trail. That would take about 5 minutes. And we heard in our 2015 Park Plan survey that nearly all the residents of Redmond feel it's important to walk, have a safe environment to walk to a park or trail in their neighborhood. And 64% say they would like to walk to a park or trail within a quarter mile or less, that 5-minute radius. Today, about 58% of our residents have the ability to do that, to walk to a park or trail within 5 minutes.
So when we reevaluated this goal of a quarter mile or a 5-minute walk to a park or trail, and so as we work towards this goal, it's going to take significant financial contribution and more than 30 years to achieve. And so knowing that, how important is it to you to build our trail? Extremely important, neutral, not very important, or not at all important.
All right, well, we're wrapping the voting here. It's about one more person to go.
And there we go. So with our results, it's important to 40% of the people, and then for everybody else who's participating, it's either neutral or not very important right now. So thank you for that feedback.
Great. Well, our next topic is park amenities. We heard in our surveys that 55% of people would like sports courts, play features, picnic facilities like shelters and tables in their local neighborhood parks. So we created a service area standard to ensure that key park amenities are available in each neighborhood, such as sports courts, and those might be basketball courts or pickleball courts, and play features, and that could be a playground, a swing set, or some particular item like a climber in every neighborhood.
So we're going to do something a little bit different with this question, in that we're going to show you 7 different types of amenities and ask you to pick the 3 that are most important to you. And what we have on the survey are basketball courts, tennis courts, pickleball courts, playgrounds or similar features, picnic tables, picnic shelters with barbecues, or a dog park. If there's something that's not on that list that's very important to you, you can certainly give it to us in the chat feedback as well.
And just to note that some of these facilities do exist in some of our parks, and we want to know if they're important to you, if they're well used. And some of these are new ideas that have come forward in our public meetings and survey data, and we just want to test the importance with the rest of the community.
We're still getting feedback on this one.
It's hard to pick your top 3 sometimes.
That's true. On a night like tonight, I'm sure most people are out, wish they were out using them right now. Right. So again, we thank you for being here and taking the survey. You could be at a park for all we know, with using your mobile phone.
All right. Got, I think, one more person.
I think, are we ready?
Okay,
yes.
We're done.
Yeah.
So the results show that picnic tables are the biggest priority, followed by playground features. And those are the top 2 items. So thank you all for your input on that.
People wish they were out doing right now with the picnic table.
That's right. So our next topic is about the development of urban parks. We heard earlier that the majority of residents would like a short walk to a park from their home or work. And our survey revealed that 83% of people would like more arts and cultural events in the urban centers such as downtown and Overlake Village. We also heard that Overlake Village needs more parks.
And so, we want to ensure, as we said earlier, that all neighborhoods have access to parks. And so Downtown Park is a perfect example of something where we will have a park that serves the neighborhood residents, but it's also going to be a gathering place for the entire community to participate in events, live performances, musical performances, markets might be hosted there. And this is a new standard for us, and we want to know if it's important to you that we also, in our second urban core, the Overlake Village area, that we develop a similar park. So do you agree that it's important to build parks in urban centers that serve the local residents and workers in that neighborhood, but also become a broader place for community events? And while people are answering this, I just wanted to say with Downtown Park, which many people have been driving by for many years and seeing that patch of grass and maybe wondering what's going on with it. Carolyn, do you want to speak a little more to that?
Sure. We're in the middle of designing Downtown Park, and that comes on the heels of a very involved master plan where thousands of people participated in online surveys and an activity we had out in the park and public meetings and helping provide input on what should go in Downtown Park. So we're working on that design. You saw a concept here just a couple slides ago, and we'll have that park constructed by the summer of 2018.
And they can find more information about it.
Oh yes, on redmond.gov/downtown park.
Great, thanks. And with the results?
Looks like we have everyone agreeing or strongly agreeing with this topic.
Great,
So,
well, good to know.
yes, thanks.
So we're going to jump back to trails now. We were talking about the walkability towards trails earlier, and now we want to talk more about the types of trails we want to develop in the next capital cycle. So there are three general types of trails, and you can see them on your screen. The one on the left, a local trail, a small hiking trail within wooded areas. Then we have in the middle what we call connector trails. Usually 4 to 8 feet wide, they pave, they can be soft surface like the one that's shown there. And they usually link neighborhoods or parks or trails or other neighborhoods. And then finally, the largest type of trail, regional trails, whether that be something like the Redmond Central Connector or the Sammamish River Trail or the Burke-Gilman Trail. And these connect into each other and bring cities together by way of trails that can be used for all sorts of purposes, either recreation or transit, many different reasons.
So what we heard is that trails continue to be a top priority for our community. 72% of people in our survey said they use trails at least a few times a month. And in a statewide survey, walking and running are the top forms of recreation in Washington state. We also heard from our community that building local and connector trails is slightly more important than building more regional trails at this point in time.
So as a result, we think we should be focusing on building smaller trail connections and local hiking trails rather than the big regional trails in the next 6-year capital plan. And we'd like to know if you agree with this approach. So as we've been doing tonight, strongly agree, neutral, disagree, or strongly disagree.
I just want to remind people that if you have any questions, you can type them in the chat window, and we have some folks here who can help us answer those questions during our presentation. And
Carolyn, the Redmond Central Connector been a big success, and now phase 2 is starting soon?
Yes, we'll start construction on the second portion of the Redmond Central Connector in the next month or so. It will connect from the Trestle Bridge over the river up to Digipen and Overlake Christian Church. So we're really excited about that.
Great.
All right, so we have some results here, and let's see, we have about 60% of folks agree or strongly agree with this approach, and about 14% are neutral.
Great. Good to know again, it's a positive result.
Our last topic is public art. And just for your information, we define public art as both the permanent and temporary visual art that you see throughout the city, as well as performance-based art and experiential art. And what we heard from the community through our surveys over the past couple of years are that 91% of people attend visual art exhibits in the local area. 58% of residents would like to see more public art. and 48% believe public art contributes to a high quality of life in Redmond. So we designed our first citywide public art plan this year, and it proactively defines themes, locations, costs, and timing for implementing public art throughout the city. It also provides a strategy for integrating public art into capital projects that are both public and private in order to create a more impactful environment for our community to enjoy. And what we want to know from you tonight is, do you agree with some of the goals, some of the outcomes of the public art plan, which include creating vitality in our environment, in our business and social environment, providing a sense of identity for our city, creating connections with our neighbors, and celebrating the culturally diverse community that we live in? So the goals again are vitality, sense of identity, connections, and celebrating our diverse community.
Carol, and I have to say, one of my favorite new pieces of public art is signals made of the old train signals that used to run, when the train tracks were there, that now are part of the connector. I think that's just, I was just down near it the other night and saw people looking up at the colored lights there and really enjoying that installation.
Oh, great. I think that's really a really fun piece of art too. And we hold our a performance-based art event underneath signals every summer called So Bizarre, and it's a great place to enjoy our neighbors and performances and so forth. All right, so we have our results in, and let's see, we have about 50% of the people think this is, they agree or they strongly agree with it, and 7% are neutral.
Well, that's great. And that was our 7 questions that we said we would be asking you. So now it's time for open Q&A. I don't know if we have any questions from the audience right now or not.
Okay, so
looks like nothing is coming yet. We're waiting. We'll give people a little bit to ask questions, and then they'll be brought up to us so we can answer them. Thank you again so much for your time here.
Mm-hmm. And just a reminder that the presentation will be live tomorrow, or you can not see it live, but it will be posted online tomorrow at redmond.gov/future-of-fun, and it will be accompanied by a survey that can be taken online. So if you felt like this went a little too fast for you and you couldn't participate, you can take it online. If you want to share it with your friends and neighbors, feel free to do that as well. So we have a question.
How do we compare metrics with other cities in the Northwest? I wonder if that was within regard to the tree canopy where we shared those. Do you know?
The 3 trail options.
Oh, okay.
3 trail options. So I am not quite sure how to answer that. If the question was about mileage or the types of trails, do we know? Okay. The types of trails are pretty similar, and I don't have an answer directly on how we compare mileage-wise. We do have 55 miles of trails within the city of all different types, and the city owns and manages a little over 30 miles. And then we have King County Trails, the Washington Department of Transportation, of course, owns and manages the SR 520 bike trail, and so forth. So if there's any other elaboration on that question, we'd be happy to try and answer.
With the new 520 bridge, will you be able to go by way of the bike trail all the way into Seattle now? Right?
Yes, yeah. When the 520 bridge is complete, that'll provide a direct connection from Seattle to Redmond, east-west.
That's fantastic. As anybody who's ever wanted to run or bike and has to go all the way to 90 knows that
yes.
That can feel kind of long sometimes.
Yeah. All right, well, that is the end of our presentation. Thank you all for participating. Anything else, Aaron, that you want to wrap up with?
No, thank you very much. And if this type of information is important to you, the first Thursday of every month, we do have our Parks and Trails Commission meeting. So they are open meetings. You're always welcome to join and bring topics up there that are of this nature.
Great. Thank you again. Enjoy your nice.
We have one more question.
Oh, one more. All right.
We're waiting for it to come in from the moderator.
In regard to the topic on swimming facilities, upgrades, what year do you project that they'll be open to the public? All right, so the recreation facility planning is still ongoing. In fact, we are soliciting volunteers for a stakeholder group. And if you're interested, you can contact us through our website. There is a page about recreation facilities, or you can email me directly at cjhope@redmond.gov. We are going to continue studying the options, and I don't have a date yet for the projected build time because we need to do some more planning and design work and community engagement.
But I would also say that if this is important to you, get your friends and neighbors involved and let them know about the urgency of the situation.
Yes. Yeah.
Are we good now? Any other questions?
All right.
One more coming in? No, that's great. Thank you all for the engagement.
Sorry. You see specific tree octopus?
Any particular plans for the parks in Southeast Redmond, like Arthur Johnson, are a little underdeveloped? Yes, Southeast Redmond is certainly on our minds. We have a neighborhood park in the middle of the residential area that we would love to develop, and Arthur Johnson as well. There's also a regional trail connection from the neighborhood in Southeast Redmond that would connect to Arthur Johnson and Martin Park and the existing trail that goes up to Perigo. Those are all on our capital improvement plan. Right now, they don't appear to be in our 6-year funding strategy, but they are on our minds for sure.
Is it fair to say, though, that as we're entering a new budgeting cycle, that if this is, again, something that's important to people, that if they make themselves heard, that they have a chance to influence the process?
Sure. There are a number of public hearings this fall and throughout the year where you can provide your input on the budget to the city council, and those would be posted on the city's website on the budget page.
Great. Okay,
All
we
right.
think we're really done this time.
Okay, thanks again.
All right.
Have a great night.
You too.